Well, that was fun. My stupid camera cut off. Anyhow, greetings. This is take two. Take three, actually, because the first one really sucked. Anyhow, my name is Dan. Some people know me as Sonic. Other people know me as Moonshine. It just depends on when you know me. I used to be a pro wrestler in the Florida and a little bit in the New England area. Wrestled as Sonic Youth for a little while, Moonshine McCoy for most of my career. And now I'm just pretty much doing my thing. Work a work a job, and you know what? Anyhow, none of that's really relevant. I basically wanted to talk about the Iron Claw that just came out. It was good. It was interesting. It was interesting to see how they're going to do it because Hollywood being Hollywood and modern Hollywood being modern Hollywood, it's you could see them kind of sticking with the tragic themes, the tragic events in the lives of the Von Erich family, which this movie was about. If you don't know, they were a famous wrestling family in the 80s. Their family used to run world class championship wrestling in the Texas area, and they were huge. It's hard to understate how huge world class was back in the 80s. I mean, you find enough documentaries and people talking about it, the people who were in it when it happened. You know, Dutch Mantel, the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, Ric Flair ran through there. It was just huge. Go check it out on your own. Anyhow, so it was kind of like, okay, how are they going to do this? Are they going to screw it up, or are they going to actually do something good with the movie? Apparently, they had Kevin Von Erich involved, and one of his main wishes with the movie was to discuss, not discuss, but how should I phrase this? Focus more on the family and his relationship with his brothers. And even though they have to discuss the tragedies, because that was a huge part of it, uh, that was kind of the running theme, the concurrent theme throughout the movie was that the love between the brothers and all that. So anyhow, us get into it. It was made by A24. It was written and directed by a guy named Sean Durkin, who I have no idea who he is, but he did a good job. It was about 2 hours and 10 minutes long. They got Chavo Guerrero to do stunt coordination on it, which is really cool. He taught all the wrestlers pretty much the basic fundamentals of wrestling. They did all the ring work themselves, and you could tell. I mean, their rope work was kind of shoddy. Some of the stuff they were doing, but I mean, they're actors. They're only going to be able to learn so much, I imagine. And they can only teach them so much because you probably don't want them getting hurt taking Aaron Michinoku drivers or anything like that. But yeah, that part of it was pretty cool. They had as far as some notes that I made, some small notes. Uh, MJF Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's the AEW World Champion, or he was as of last night. He not only was in the film doing a bit part as Lance Von Erich, he was also an executive producer on the movie, which was kind of neat that he helped finance the thing. I think that's what executive producers do. Uh, don't quote me on that. Who else? They had Silas Mason, who works for the NWA. He did a bit part as Terry Gordy, which was cool. It was a non-speaking role, but it was like his mannerisms and the facials and all that. It was kind of cool to see somebody do that. He did a good job on it. And then they had this other guy named Kevin Anton, and he did Harley Race, and it was a small part, a very small part in the movie, but it was phenomenal. I mean, he captured all of his mannerisms, his cadence. Uh, could have used an afro, but other than that, I mean, it was really good. He did a good job in his small bit playing Harley Race. As far as the rest of the cast, Holt McElhaney, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He did a fantastic job as Fritz von Erich. I mean, he really, the word I'll keep using is capture, but he really captured Fritz von Erich, like kind of that domineering, win at all costs kind of personality. It was he did a really good job. He was in a Fight Club. I remember from that. He was in a Creep Show too, if you remember that. He actually played he played the Native American heel in that one, so that was kind of funny. So if you've never seen either of those movies, check him out. He did pretty good in both of them. Maura Tierney, she played the mother. Dorothy Von Erich, and she's good. I remember her back in the day in news radio, so she was good in it. You know, she did a really good job. That's best I can say there. As far as the main actors in the movie, Sky Harris Dickinson, he did really good as David Von Erich. I mean, it was incredible the way that he even looked like him. He sounded like him. You know, everything he did in the movie was great about how he was again able to capture the spirit of David Von Erich. So he did an excellent job. Jeremy Allen White, who I remember from Shameless, he plays Lip or played Lip on that. He did an excellent job as Carrie. He really embodied that kind of chaotic spirit. If you know anything about Carrie Von Erich, then you know that he was kind of a bit of a troubled lad, and he really did a good job on that. Then Zach Efron, he did an amazing job on Kevin Von Erich playing playing him. You know, you see interviews of Kevin. He's very humble, very laid back guy. You can imagine that having every brother in his life die is probably a very traumatic experience. And you know, he's a very introspective guy, and you know, living the life that he did, and getting through it on the other end like he did. You know, he's got a lot going on. So, but he's very cool, very laid back. I've never personally met him, but every interview you ever see of him, everything he ever does, he's just a very he seems like he's a very humble, very calm and introspective guy, and all for all intents and purposes, he's fairly well put together, as it were, mentally. But anyhow, but yeah, Zach Efron did a really good job. He was ridiculously jacked for this movie. It was kind of insane watching it, like how big he is. I know in certain other movies, I know he was in Baywatch with The Rock, and he bulked up for that. But this one, he was freaking ridiculous too. But he did a really good job. He really he captured that, and the three of them together, they really they captured the spirit of the Von Erichs and why people loved them. Um, yeah, as far as the best moments of the movie, the best moments were probably there was a scene where uh, Kevin was going on a date with his future wife, and she started asking him about wrestling and how is it fake. You know, it's the usual thing you hear. But and he went in the dialogue they used to explain wrestling was very profound's probably a strong word, but it was good. It's the best way you can describe wrestling to somebody who's not familiar with it, and explain it to them in terms that they would understand, as treating it as a job, treating it as a business. So that was a good one. Um, there was a couple others that I can't think of at the moment that they could have been so good, but no, there was really good. There was a ton of good moments. A lot of them were sad. You know, don't want to give up too much about the movie. And as far as some bad moments, uh, they use the world class music. That kind of sucks. You know, which was weird. I was thinking to myself that, oh well, maybe WWE, since they own the rights to it, they wouldn't let them use it. But it was weird because they had a scene in the movie with SummerSlam where it was Ultimate Warrior versus Carrie, or not Ultimate Warrior, excuse me. It was Miss Perfect versus Carrie, from SummerSlam, and it was like, okay, well they showed that. Why can't you use the music? So that was kind of weird. Then used Stranglehold by Ted Nugent, which I thought, you know, that's a huge part of like the aura and the mystique and the whole presentation that the Von Erichs used back in the day. The guy that they got to play Ric Flair, he was all right. He did all right, but they could have got a better guy to do Ric Flair. Honestly, I mean, it was like if you just found the most generic person to play Ric Flair and do the most generic Ric Flair, that's who they got. Which it was a small part, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, come on, you know, if he's gonna be in the movie, even talking about that, if I don't quite understand, because one of the big things was the Parade of Champions, where Kerry won the belt from Rick, because this was after David died, and they had a whole big, it was a memorial tribute to him, and the NWA kind of gifted the Von Erichs the belt. That was you would have thought maybe they would have fleshed it out a little bit more there, having him in that, shown a bit more of that. Who knows? Maybe they'll do that. They have some deleted scenes they didn't do, uh, so we'll see. And then even speaking of that, a recurring theme through the movie was Fritz and his desire to get that belt in the family and how important it was, and always like grinding it into the kid's head that this is what we need to do. This is this is important. This is something that this is going to cement our legacy in wrestling. It's going to prove our worth and prove that we're successful and all that sort of good stuff. So they do the scene. They got not to give out too many spoilers, but they got Kerry sitting there at the dinner table with the belt in front of him, and then Kevin comes in, and uh, they didn't do anything with Fritz. You don't even see any interaction with him with the belt, or just anything. Something with him, like it being bittersweet. He's yeah, we got the belt, but the kid died. That sort of thing. But yeah, those are just some thoughts I had on it. But overall, it's phenomenal. It's a really good movie. It was really well done. They treated the story, they treated the family with respect. You don't they didn't gloss over a lot of stuff that occurred. Some of it was kind of rushed over, but I'm sure a lot of stuff where somebody like a purist kind of person would say, oh, you didn't cover that, oh, you didn't do this. I'm sure a lot of it was because Kevin was like, oh, okay, no, let's please focus more on this, that, or the other thing. Don't focus so much on that. I mean, but yeah, it was really good. There's a couple tear jerking moments in it, especially towards the end. Jeremy Allen White's final scene as Carrie, that was really good. Um, there was a scene towards the end with Kevin and his boys when he was with Ross and Marshall, his boys. That was really good. I'm sure if you're a softy, that'll make you tear up. But yeah, those are some of the other best moments I just remembered. I wrestled too, so I got hit in the head once too often. But anyhow, overall it was really good. I do recommend it. If anybody out there in the world sees this and goes, "Oh, cool, I'll go check it out based on you," great, I appreciate it. But other than that, I'm just bored. Decided to go rant into a camera for a little bit. Like I say, this is take number 3, so that's fine. But anyhow, enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy. Bye now.